Are you ready to automate this website with me? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today finally is the day where I show you how we can build our first automation process together. So in this video we will discover basic error handling, 2 different ways to open the website, and we do some different ways to capture objects on that website. And last but not least, we will use the JavaScript function to interact with the website as well. So are you ready? Let's go. All right, let's go to automation. Let's navigate to the YouTube folder, which we have created in the last video. Then we need to click the plus sign over here, create new. Then we choose taskbot. Let's give this one a meaningful name like first automation. Create and edit. And then we will see our main workbench. So on the left side, we will find actions, variables, and triggers. In the middle, we will find our flow. And on the right side, we will find our action details. So before we start with our steps, or let's say actions for the website login, I want to put a basic error handler first before I start with these actions. So let's go to our actions, go down to the error handler, and let's drag and drop the try catch block. So let's drag and drop the try, and we directly see that we have a try and catch. So in the try block, every action which is inside the try block will be executed until an error is detected. And if an error is detected, we will directly jump to the catch block down here, and we can log the error message to a text box. Okay, but before we add another action here, I want to show you that you can change your view from your main area here to flow. Then you have a flow chart, or you can choose list as we have seen before, or you can go and watch this as a dual. So on the left side we have the flow, and on the right side we have the list view. Okay, but now let's switch back to the list view and let's add a message box to the catch. So we can go to message box down here. Here it is. Drag and drop to the catch. But before we can put the text inside the message box, we need to configure the catch block. So let's click on the catch block again. And we can see here the exception. We want to notice, or let's say capture all the errors inside the catch. And for this, we need to assign some variables. So let's click here for the first one, for the exception message. And we can choose a sample string. And down below, we need to assign a line number. So let's pick this one, the sample number, and click save. So every error this is detected inside the try block, we will directly jump to the catch and will assign the sample string and the sample number to this action. So let's go to the message box. And we can click inside here. We need to specify a variable. So let's click on this icon here insert variable. And we can choose a variable from here, and let's choose the sample string. Yes, insert, and save. But to be honest, sample string is not a meaningful name for a variable for this case, because we use these variables only for the error message and an error line number. So let's rename the variables to meaningful names. So instead of a sample number, we choose the 3 dots over here, edit variable, and let's rename this from a sample number to lowercase n error line. Apply. And the same for the sample string. So we can choose the 3 dots, edit variable, and we name this one lowercase s for string, and we call this one error message. Apply. Okay, perfect. Now you can see we have renamed the variables here on the left, and these are as well changed inside the action here. So we now have s error message. Perfect. Okay. And to test the error handler, we need to choose an action from the action list, which will fail for sure. And for this, we can use the CSV.txt package. So let's click on this one and choose close. Let's add the close to the try block and save. Okay, let's switch to the flow chart. So what we can see here now, inside the try block, we have a CSV.txt close. And for sure this will fail because you cannot close a CSV.txt session because we didn't have any open before. So this will fail for sure. And then we will arrive directly to the catch, where we assign the string error message and the number error line in this action. And inside the catch block, we want to show the message box with the error message. So let's run this one, see if this is working as expected. So this takes a bit, but now we see, okay, it worked because we see the error message. Cannot find any CSV.txt linked to the session default. Okay, perfect. So let's get back to the list view. But from my point of view, this is not precise enough for me, because as we have seen before, we have assigned inside the catch, we assigned a number variable which is called error line. And what the error line shows is in which line, you can see here line 1, 2, 3, 4, in which line the error occurred. So in this case, this would be line 2 in this action here. So let's add this one to the message box. Let's click inside this field and let's add the error line number. Let's click inside value and let's choose this one. Now we see that we cannot choose the error line number because it is of type number. And in the message box, we only have the chance to pick string variables. And string variables are assigned with this icon over here, the double quote. So this shows that these are string variables. Okay. So now we need to think what we can do to show the error line as well with the error message inside the message box. So for this, we have an action. When we go down in our actions to the number package, which we will find here. So inside the number package, we have an action which is called toString. And we can see here number to string converts the user specified number to a string. Okay, so we can pick this one, put this inside the error catch. On the actions we want to perform, we need to choose the error line. Yes, insert. Then we can specify digits after the decimal if it's needed, but in our case we don't need that. We can stick with 0 here. And we need to assign this output to a new variable. And for this we need to create a new one, because we don't have a string for the error line. So let's click on this button over here, create a variable. And we see this is directly jumping to a string variable. And let's call this lowercase s. Error line. Okay, create and select. Click save. And when we now go back to our error message, in the message box, now we want to show the error line before the error message. So let's go inside this field here, and we can click insert variable. Now you can see we can pick the error line here. Yes, insert. But now you see this is not nicely formatted because we have the error line and directly afterwards the error message. To have it a bit more formatted, let's add a space here, hyphen and a space. And let's click save and run this whole code again. So this will fail for sure, because we cannot close the CSV txt file, the session, because we haven't opened anyone. So now you can see we have the error line, space, hyphen space, and the error message inside our catch block. So now this is more precise and give us a better idea where we have this error inside our code. Perfect. But there's a much more elegant way to achieve this, and I will show you this right away. So let's get rid of this string error line here, so we can delete this. And we can type now two $signs, because as you see here on the right, it is a $sign starting, then we have s error message and the $closing. For this variable. And now what we can do is type $sign, and inside these $sign, so let's click inside these ones, we type the lowercase n for the number variable, and then we can see we can now pick the n error line number over here. So let's click this one. And you see we have a red dotted line underneath this variable. Yes, for sure. This is a number variable. We can only use string variables here. And we can see this when we hover over. We get this notification, does not return a string value. Yes. But we can now convert the number variable on the fly with this one line to a string variable. So we can click inside the variable name at the end and put a dot. And when we put the dot, we get some actions here. You see number decrement, number increment, but down here on the bottom we can see number to string. Let's choose this. And then you see the red dotted line is gone, and we have converted inside the number error line dot number colon to string to a string variable. Let's click save and see if this works. But before we start this, let's deactivate the line before, so the number to string. So to deactivate a line, click on the three dots on the right and you can disable this action. Then you see it is grayed out. So save. Let's run this again to see if this works. The conversation on the fly, and we see yes, it worked. We can close this one. Perfect. So now we can delete this line over here. Just click on the three dots, remove action, and it's gone. And let's also delete the variable, the s_error line variable, because we don't need that anymore. So let's go to the variables. Let's go to s_error line. On the right hand side, click the three dots and delete variable. Or what you also can do, instead of this, click the three dots over here and choose delete unused variables. When we click here, we see a list of variables when we have more than just one. So let's delete the s_error line so we can see that it's gone now. Okay, perfect. Let's also get rid of the test scenario for our try catch block. Remove this as well, and then go to our actions. Okay, so what we need to do when we want to automate this process. Yeah, what's the first step? For sure, we need to open the browser with the website. Okay, and for this, we can also use two ways here to achieve this. The first one is go to the browser package we see here. So let's click on the browser package. Then we choose open. So let's drag and drop the open inside our try block. And then on the right side, we have the actions available to this. So browser open. Here we see what to open. We can choose new window, new tab, or existing tab. But in our case, we want to start with a new window. Down below, we can select which browser we want to use. By default, it is the default browser. This is the browser which is the default on your machine. But we can specify a browser, and this is also best practice. It is always good to decide which browser you want to open. As I said, on my machine maybe it is the Firefox browser, and on another machine it is the Microsoft Edge browser. So this can give some issues. So best practice, always choose the browser you want to open. So in this case, we specify the Google Chrome. Let's pick the Google Chrome here. And we need to give a value for the link that needs to be opened. So let's put the link here. I can make it a bit bigger for you so you can see the whole link. So this link I will put also in the description down below, that you can pick it from there. Just do a copy paste. Okay, let's click save. And before we start to capture our actions on this website, let's run our code to let Automation Anywhere open the web page for us. So we can click the run button to see if this works. Yeah, worked perfectly fine. Okay. But for now, let's close this window. Click the close button here. As I said, there's also another way to open the browser. Instead of using the browser action, you can also choose from the actions the application open program file action. So let's drag and drop this inside our try block. Here, the location of the program file. For this, we just type Chrome. And we can give here parameters. What you want to do when the file, let's say the program, is opened. And for sure, we need to provide as well the link to the web page. And as we see here, parameters optional, we can add some parameters. And in this case, we want a parameter that opens a new window. So we type a hyphen new hyphen window and a space. So we have the parameter new window space the link which needs to be opened. Okay, then we click save. Now let's deactivate the browser one to see if this works as well. So disable this action for now and click run. And as we can see, it worked okay. So we opened a new window with the link. Perfect. So it is just for your information that you can use these both approaches in this case, but the best one is the browser one. Let's enable this again and delete the Chrome one down here. So remove action. Let's click save. Run again to open the window for the next steps we want to perform. And before we add these actions, let's examine what we need to do on the web page. So the web page is opened. Okay. As we can see, we have the email address, a field down below, a password field down below. We have a field for these entries and a sign in button down here. So basically what we need is open the web page, fill in the email address, fill in the password, and then click the sign in button. Okay, let's go back to our control room. Close. So now let's start with capture. So on the left side, you can also use the search actions. Let's type capture. And we can see all actions with captures. And here we have the recorder package. Click on recorder, capture. Let's drag and drop over here to the try block after the browser open command. And now we can choose the window type. So first it is selected variable, but you can select application and browser. So in this case, we select browser. And before we can capture this object on our browser window, we need to click the refresh windows button over here. So let's click this one. And then Automation Anywhere reads in all the window titles. So now we can choose from the drop-down the Automation Anywhere Labs login. Let's click this one. And here we can see the browser title, Automation Anywhere Labs login. Next step we need to do is capture object down here. So we click this button. And then we need to hover over the elements on this website. And we get a thin red line around these objects. And we need to select the email address field like this and do a left mouse click. Okay. Now we have a little preview what we have captured. We can see the email address is captured. Then down below we have action to take on this object. Yeah, what we want to do here. So let's check what we can choose here. And in this case, we want to set a text. So let's choose this one. Then we have new options down below. And here we have enter keystrokes. Yeah, in this case, we want to enter keystrokes. We need to fill in the email address. So let's fill in the email address from the user. Let's get rid of these spaces. I will put these username and password as well in the description down below that you can copy paste here. Okay, let's click save. And as next action, we need to fill in the password. So let's add another captcha here. So we drag and drop another captcha action. Then we can choose the browser again. So we click Automation Anywhere Labs Login again, capture object, and hover over the password field. Okay, now we have the red thin outline. Let's click, left click here, and let's see the actions to take on that object. And as well, we want to set the text. And now we can see it is a bit different as in the step before, because Automation Anywhere recognized that this is a password field. So we have a different layout and options to take here. So we can use a credential, we can use a variable, or we can use the insecure string. And as we can see here, it is expected to provide a string value inside here. In this case, we use the insecure string. So let's copy paste the password. So as we can see, we get a warning. Value provided here is not encrypted. Use credential vault to store your credentials safely. And how this works, I will show you in another video. But for now, we stick with the insecure string. Let's click save. So, and as the last step, as the third one, we need to click the sign button. But instead of adding another captcha, what we can do now is also we can click the three dots on the last action. Then we can click copy action. We can click on the three dots again, and we can choose now paste after action. So now you see we have now three captchas, and the last one is directly selected. And we can click here on the right side on reCAPTCHA object. Let's click on this and hover over the sign in button. Perfect, sign in button is selected. Left click. Okay, let's check what actions we can perform on this button. And we see now we have clicks. We have a click, debugger click, left click, right click, and a double click. In this case, we choose the click and click save. Okay, now let's see if our automation works until now. Let's close the website, the new window we have opened. Close. Let's click run and see if this automation works as expected. This takes a while to download the code. And we see the web page is opened. And the email address is added, the password populated, and the sign in button is clicked. And we see, awesome, you got it right. The time is 1.20 seconds, accuracy 100%. Perfect. So we did it. Our first automation. But that's not all. I want to show you some more stuff we can do here. So as you have seen, we used the captchas, single captcha commands. But now I want to show you another way to use the universal recorder. So, but before we can start with the universal recorder, let's type in the search actions comment. You can type comment or just com. You see how it works. So let's pick the comment and add this after our last capture action. And on the right side with the actions, let's do a comment like universal recorder. Let's type universal recorder, click save, and you can see here we have a comment line with universal recorder. So then we can select our line here, and on the left side over here we have the universal recorder. So let's click on this one. This takes a bit, then we can see this new Automation Anywhere recorder window. And the same here, we need to click the refresh window button. After we have clicked, we can check the windows we have opened, and we choose Automation Anywhere Labs login Google Chrome. So let's choose this one, and then we need to click Universal Recorder. Okay, and now we can hover over the first element here, left click, then we can go directly to the next capture we want to capture. This is the password. And the third one is the sign in button. So let's hover over here and click as well here. And now we have recorded a sequence of captures. After we have captured the sequence here, now we have 3, email address, password, sign in. Let's click the finish button. Okay. And now you can see after our comment, universal recorder, you see we directly created 3 captures automatically as a sequence. So you see we have the email address captured, we have the password captured, and the third one, the sign in button, click. And you can see it is detected, it is set text is pre-filled, as well as for the password, and here for the sign in we have the click. Alright, so now you saw how you can use universal recorder to capture sequence of actions in one shot. But for now, let's disable these 3 actions. And let's add another comment, drag and drop, down here. And let's type JavaScript. Because now I want to show you how you can use JavaScript instead of these captures. So let's disable also these ones, just the captures, because the browser open is needed. Don't disable this one. And now let's go down to the, no, wait, sorry. Let's go to browser. And on the browser package, we have the run JavaScript. Let's drag and drop this here after the comment JavaScript. Here we have the same with the browser. So let's click refresh. Then we choose again the Automation Anywhere Labs login. Okay. But in this case, we don't want click capture object because we directly want to manual input JavaScript here. As you can see, you can also import a JavaScript file, but in this case, you want to use manual input. Okay, let's go back to our website. Let's close this button. Okay, and how to investigate with JavaScript? What you need to do is to identify some properties. So let's left click on the email address, then do a right click, and we can click now inspect. So now we see all the code, all the HTML code in a, let's say, in a small console. But now let's click on these three dots over here and choose the doc side down below, doc to bottom, because now you can see it is much more wider, the screen, so we can see the code better instead of these small right one. So it's just a recommendation from my side to use doc to bottom. And as we see, let's right click, inspect, and we see here the highlighted line. So here we have an input, type email, ID, input email. And the ID here is a unique ID. So we can use this in our JavaScript code to select this unique ID. Let's go back to our code here. Then we can put the JavaScript code inside here. So I make this my window size a bit bigger. So let's see what we have got. So for JavaScript, we use document.getElementById, and the ID was input email. And we then do the dot value and type user automation anywhere. So this is the value what we want to populate in this field. But a note here, the get element by ID is case sensitive. So all the JavaScript code is case sensitive. If you by mistake type get element by I capitalized and decapitalized, you will get an error. So please make sure to do the case sensitive in your JavaScript code, but as well the code which we used here, I will also put in the description down below that you can copy paste. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first line in our code for the input email. Let's go back to our, let's go back to 100% zoom. Let's check our web page again. Then we have the password field. Let's click right click, inspect. And we see here now the highlighted input type password. ID is input password. So here the same. We have a unique ID, which is called input password. So we can use JavaScript here as well. In this case, go back to our code. Line 2. And here we do document.getElementById. But here we use input password, value, automation 123. This is the value what you want to populate here. Let's go back to our web page. And let's check the sign-in button. So let's click right, inspect. And here it is a bit different. Here we have a button of type class btn. And we have a btn-lg and a btn-primary. And in this case, we can use the btn-primary. So the btn-primary class is a class which we can pick here, or what we need to pick here, let's say. So let's go back to our code. So in the third line, we put our code here, and this code is a bit different. So let's zoom in again. So here we have document.querySelector. So the query selector we specify with a dot and btn-primary, as we saw on the console for Chrome. And the action what we want to take here is a click action. So we use, instead of dot value, we use dot click with the parentheses over here to perform a click, JavaScript click. So let's go back to 100% zoom again. Let's go back to our website. Let's close the console and close the website. Click Save here. And now we use just the browser open command and the run JavaScript function to log into the website. Let's click Run and see how fast this is. The website is opened. And you saw, boom, this was really fast. So we have 0 seconds, 100% accuracy. So this was really fast. So we did it. We built our first automation together. So if you like my video and my content, I would appreciate if you give this video a thumbs up, a subscription if you like, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.